Hey Al, today I am in Southern California and I have the opportunity to check out something that is all new from Honda, and that is the 2026 Honda CR-V Trailsport. Now this is new in a couple of different ways. So first of all, this is the very first time the CR-V has gotten the Trailsport treatment. Second, this is the first time the Trailsport shows up with a hybrid powertrain. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to do a quick walk around. I'm going to show you some of the differences between this and the regular CR-V models, and then I'm going to get into the good things and the bad things, and yep, we are even going to take this off-road. My name is Jill Ciminillo with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. Let's take a closer look at the Honda CR-V Trailsport. All right, let's just jump right in with the walk around. And the first thing that I want to point out is this ash green pearl paint is exclusive to the Trailsport trim, and it is the first time it is appearing on the Honda CR-V, obviously. This is the first time the Trailsport has appeared on the CR-V. Now, as you walk around the exterior, you're going to notice some design changes because you do have a little bit more of a rugged front fascia, and you have a little bit more of an off-road look to it. You do have the orange Trailsport badging, and you've got some blacked out accents, not only on the grille, but also on the mirror caps, on the door handles, and you have this really nice rugged looking wheel, and you have standard all-terrain tires. Now, you do also have standard all-wheel drive on this vehicle, and then, as I mentioned, this does have the hybrid powertrain. So this is equipped with a 2.0 liter gasoline engine and a 2-motor hybrid system. The combined horsepower output for this vehicle is going to be 204 horsepower. You will also get a little bit more of a rugged rear fascia because, yeah, this is meant to go off-road. And we are certainly going to be checking that out. Moving into the inside of the vehicle, you will see that you do also have the orange accents on the interior, and you have a really nice premium rugged looking cloth material on the seating surfaces. You have all-weather floor mats with the Trailsport badging, and you have some blacked out accents on the interior as well. So if you remember the regular CR-V, this is silver. And overall, I will say that just the trim looks a little bit, I mean, I think it looks sporty, but it also looks a little bit more rugged. Now, in terms of interior changes, you do have a larger digital display here. I think they said it's 10.2 inches. And then you have a larger infotainment screen. And this is standard. Both of these things are going to be standard across the 2026 CR-V lineup. So this is now 9 inches. You do have standard wireless Apple CarPlay, and you have standard wireless charger. You have USB-C charging ports, not USB-A charging ports, so heads up on that. And a couple of other things that are going to be standard on the Trailsport trim. You have heated seats, you have dual automatic climate controls, and yep, you even have a heated steering wheel. Now, there's a couple more things that I'd like to point out before I get into the good things and bad things and off-road driving. And one of those things is that the combined fuel economy of this vehicle is estimated to be about 35 miles per gallon. Now, I have only driven 7 miles, so this is not an accurate gauge of how well this vehicle actually does. But the fact that this has standard all-wheel drive, and even in just 7 miles, I've gotten above 30 miles per gallon, I'm going to consider that a win. The other thing that I want to point out is the base price of this vehicle is just more than $40,000. So you do have a lot of standard features and nice amenities on the Honda CR-V Trailsport, and yeah, you're going to pay for it, but this is not the top trim. So I will point that also. So hybrid powertrain, 204 horsepower, standard heated seats, standard dual automatic climate control, standard wireless Apple CarPlay, standard heated steering wheel, 35 miles per gallon, and about $40,000. Okay, now that we have done the walk around, it is time for me to transition into the things that I like and the things that I don't like on the Honda CR-V Trailsport. And you know what? I'm just going to start with the like list. And The first item on my list is for the shorties out there. So the first thing I want to say is I have a really good driving position. I was able to get the steering wheel far enough away from me that I don't feel like I'm eating the steering wheel, and yet I still have a really good, comfortable driving position for my arms. The other thing that I want to point out is I have a lot of knee space here, and that doesn't always happen in cars and SUVs these days because I have a far forward driving position. And so to get close enough to the steering wheel, I'm also like often bumping my knees against the underbelly of the dash. Not so in the Honda CR-V. So if you are on the petite side of things, this will give you a really good driving position. I will point out these seats also have lumbar support, thumbs up, and they're really adjustable. So I can move the seat bottom up, I can move the seat bottom down. I like the down. And you've got the forward and backward, and the power seats are going to be standard. I like all of those things. I will say, while I'm in this position here, I also like this larger 9-inch screen, and I really love the materials and the textures on this vehicle. I think they've done a really good job with the design, and I think it works with the overall theme of the vehicle. Now, I'm going to turn this around so that I can have you see what I'm seeing when I talk about the next things that I really like on this vehicle. I've previously given Honda a lot of guff for their outdated graphics on the infotainment screen, but along with the larger screen, they've also kind of updated their home screen. And this to me looks a lot more modern and more intuitive. And when you have your phone connected, obviously your Apple CarPlay widgets are going to show up here, and it fills out the screen really well. So I like how they've updated this, and I like what they have done with the largeness of the screen. You also have the larger screen here, and it is digital and it looks really good. I don't mind the fact that you have analog looking gauges here. I think it works and it looks really good. I will point out we have driven more than 100 miles and we are currently idling a lot. But before we started to idle and sit in this really hot weather, we were averaging 33 miles per gallon with 100 miles of highway driving. And you know what the EPA estimates this vehicle should get? 33 miles per gallon. So I'm going to say hashtag winning. That is really well done. So, you know, when I was talking about the materials and the design, I mean, we've already done the walk around, so you've already seen some of this stuff, but just to go over it again, I like the weatherproof floor mats, which are standard. I like the stitching on the seats and the orange accents. I like all of these things. I think that they have done a really nice job with the design. I will also point out, I do not have my phone connected at the moment, but you do have standard on all CR-Vs, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it also gets a huge thumbs up from me. Because I'm always cold, and even on this very hot day, I'm still gonna say I like it. You have standard heated seats and a heated steering wheel on this Trailsport trim. And after a long run, even when it's 100 degrees outside, I still want to get in the vehicle and turn on my heated seats. So yeah, I like the fact that that is standard. Now, to talk about the last thing that I really like on this vehicle, we have to move to the back seat. And that is going to be the fact that, hey, look at this. You have rear air vents. That is kind of a big deal. You don't always get that in SUVs or sedans, and I don't know why, but you have standard rear air vents here. While we're here, I'll also point out this is, you know, a smaller SUV, but you do have a decent amount of legroom. And if you don't have anybody sitting in this middle seat, you do have a pull down here with a couple of cup holders. And I will just point out they have carried the design theme through to the back seats with the accent stitching here, and I like that as well. So in all, there is a lot to like here on this Honda CR-V Trailsport. It is now time for me to get into the things that I do not like on the Honda CR-V Trailsport, and I'll be honest with you, there are just two things. Yeah, the like list was really long. The do not like list is muy pequeño, just like me. So I've got to flip the camera around and I've got to show you what I'm talking about. All right, the first thing that I do not like on the Honda CR-V Trailsport is the seat comfort. I love the design of these seats. I love the fact that they are cloth seats and they have heated seats, but I don't know if this is pre-production. I don't know if it's just still new, but these seats are uncomfortable. It feels like I am sitting on cardboard. I like the lumbar support. There's some really good lumbar support. It's literally like this bit right here that is super uncomfortable for the long haul. I don't know if they will get broken in, but I strongly recommend, if you seat comfort is important to you, take this on a longer than 10-minute test drive. All right, so the final thing that I don't like, yeah, you had to know it. You had to know it, but it's not necessarily for the reason that you might think. So I will be honest, I did not have my phone in here for a 3-hour period, which is how I usually do my phone charger tests. But I did have it in here for a solid hour, and I had problems finding the right location for it to charge, and my phone kept moving off of the location and it would stop charging, and then I would have to move my phone again to get it to charge. And it did heat up my phone a little bit, but it didn't overheat my phone. But I don't know if that's because it wouldn't overheat my phone or if it's because I just didn't have it in the right location to charge. Yeah. So this is not the best wireless charger, but I will say, thankfully, you do have your wired in points here. And frankly, if you really need to charge your phone, you're going to want to put it on that anyway. And I will say the one thing that I do like that Honda has done is, if you aren't going to use the charging pad, yeah, you can turn it off. So you can just set your phone here and not charge and have it wired in. You can just use this as a resting place. But if you want to try to use the charger, you can turn it on. But not one of the good ones in my book. But that's it. Two things that I did not like on the Honda CR-V Trailsport. All right, so we are finally getting ready to take the Trailsport on a trail. And this is more of a light off-road kind of situation. This did not have a trail mode. It does not have an off-road mode. And they did that on purpose because Honda seems to think that the CR-V customer who is going to buy the Trailsport is more interested in the light off-roading situation, getting to a campsite, going to, like grandma's house over the river through the woods, but not necessarily doing any technical trails. So you do have some extra cladding. You have a little bit more of a rugged fascia in the front and in the rear to protect the vehicle from, the rocks and the dirt and the things that are going to bump up against it. But you do not have a trail mode. So let's see how it does. I will say the one thing that we did do before shoving off is we engaged hill descent control. So other than that, we've got it in normal mode, and hill descent control is on. I will say one thing this vehicle has that the other vehicles with all-wheel drive do not have is it has the low-speed traction control management, which makes it, and I guess I should say this is new for 2026. So 2025 didn't have it. All 2026 models with all-wheel drive have this low-speed traction management that will send the torque to the wheel that needs it the most. Okay, so that's interesting. They had us turn on the hill descent control and it just canceled because it says the slope isn't steep enough. So I'm gonna just turn that back on. Okay. Because I do see that we do have a hill in our future. So as you can see, we aren't doing anything terribly gnarly here, but we did have a pretty significant hill that we went over, and it looks like we have another little situation here that we're going through. And thus far, I will say, again, not the Rubicon Trail here, but this is pretty stable in some moderate off-road situations. We've had some bumpy bits, we've had some hills, we're certainly on some soft dirt. No rocky bits yet, but I will say this is, I mean, I would have no problem taking this to a campground or doing some light off-roading. Ooh, and we've got some more wheel lift up here. I did that pretty well. And I will say the hill descent control has stayed on, and it is, you know, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's braking at the appropriate points to slow you down when you are in a descent situation. That allows you to focus on actually driving. All right, it is now time for some brief driving impressions, and you have to keep in mind this is a first look review. I've had about a half an hour behind the wheel. So we've done some off-roading, we've been on the highway, we have gone through some city streets, and overall first impressions are very favorable. This did well in the dirt, and it is very comfortable in terms of handling and ride in the on-road situation. Now, yeah, the seats were on the do not like list, the seats are not comfortable, but this is overall just a very quiet, nice cruising vehicle. You can probably deal with the seats, maybe the seats will break in. You have to keep in mind, again, I'm only in this car for a short amount of time, and this is new. This is very new, pre-production, so I don't know how the seats would wear over time. But in terms of driving down the highway, driving on road, even with the all-terrain tires, you don't have a lot of road noise creeping in. There is a little, but it's manageable, and I don't feel like, I feel like I'm shouting over the air conditioning, but I don't feel like I have to shout over the tire noise. I like the way this handles on the highway. It feels solid, it feels planted, and overall, this is just, I have good visibility. I feel comfortable in the driver's seat, again, except for the seat itself. And I don't know, I like the Honda CR-V. And I really like the Honda CR-V Hybrid. And this Trailsport version is just a little extra. So, you know, again, not gonna go on the Rubicon Trail, but this is just a nice option to have if you're gonna hit the dirt occasionally and you're gonna spend a lot of time driving on road. So what I want to say is I like the looks of the Honda CR-V Trailsport. I like the hybrid powertrain of the Honda CR-V Trailsport, and generally I think this is a really good vehicle for you to consider if you want something that's a little bit more rugged and off-roady but still has well-mannered on-road dynamics. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about the Honda CR-V Trailsport. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you down the road.